Engaging celebrity interviews. Exciting updates from Christian filmmakers. Movie reviews so you can choose your movies wisely. And so much more here on Faith on Film with Isaac Hernandez and Holly McClure.
Yeehaw! Howdy, partners. Welcome to this week's episode of Faith on Film. I'm your host, Cowboy Isaac Hernandez, and I'm here with my co-host, Cowgirl Holly McClure. Holly, how you doing? Howdy.
we say howdy, y'all, in Texas. Howdy, y'all. We do. We are going to have a fun show, Isaac, because we are talking today about the movie The Last Rodeo, which was filmed in Texas, Oklahoma, Colorado, different places. But it also had a premiere here in Fort Worth. It was exciting in Texas. So we're going to talk about that movie.
Which, of course, explains why we're dressed like this, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So,
and, it's exciting because this was an Angel Studios movie. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, Isaac, I think it's going to set another marker for the kind of films they want to make. And it was really a good movie.
That's one thing about Angel Studios is they just keep coming out with great movies. Yeah. You used to be faith-based or faith-adjacent, whatever we want to call them now. We're kind of a little bit subpar. No offense to those that have been making those films. I mean, it's understandable. The budgets are not the same. But it looks like just the whole, what do they say? That when the tide rises, all boats rise?
That's right.
That's what's been
all
happening.
All ships go fly. That's right. It does. And it's helping everyone. And I think this is one of those who uses star power and goes to that next level.
Well, I'll tell you what. I know that you were at the red carpet premiere, but first, let's take a look at the trailer so people kind of get an idea of what we're talking about here.
Do you remember everything that you put all of us through the last time you rode? You will not get on that bull.
Well, then what are we going to do about Cody?
I'm going to be okay, Mom.
$750,000 for first place. You got a better idea, I'm all ears.
We've got some incredible news. The rodeo legend's going to compete for the first time in years.
Give me the green light.
Joe Wainwright. Three-time world champion. Rides again.
This is going to be big.
This ain't the senior circuit.
Good luck. You're gonna need it.
Joe Wainwright competing at over 50 years younger.
I'm grandfathered in, right?
Well, you right about that granddad part.
Oh! His grandson's sick, and he's got to earn money. That's why he's here. You gotta focus, Joe. In my seat, I only ask once. That went well.
Yeah, very.
Be patient with her. She loves you fiercely.
Can Joe Wainwright keep up?
I'm fine.
Of course you are. That's a genuine, true legend right there.
Here we go!
Come on, Joe, get it! Get it! Get it!
Wow.
Another great movie.
Did you, you won't believe, it looks like he really is riding the bull. It really does look like, the way that they shot it, the scenes, and you do have real rodeo people as, riding the bulls in the movie stars as extra. So you have that reality of, the real people doing it. It was a fun experience. I'm telling you, that movie is, it's about, and you could see through the trailer, his grandson has an illness. The family doesn't have money. His wife has passed. His daughter, can't afford it. So he knows there's one more thing he can do, one skill set that God gave him, and he calls on God again. Sounds like a Bible story, doesn't it? He calls on God again to come through and let him win that money so that he can pay for that child. And it's really, yes, it has a happy ending, but it has a different kind of happy ending too, a twist to it. And anyway, it's just a great family film, good father-daughter movie. I had the chance to interview on the red carpet. It was star-studded. Director John Avenett. Now, he directed the film. He did Risky Business, and he talks about how he started Tom Cruise's kind of famous career, how he couldn't even build Tom Cruise at that time in the movie Risky Business. I know most of you who are under probably 40 don't even know what we're talking about, but you will. And then also Fried Green Tomatoes, one of my favorite movies. So he has a whole list of movies he's done. So he is a phenomenal director. And let's take a listen to what he had to say.
All right.
What is new about The Last Rodeo that people may not have seen in other Western shows?
Well, the thing I tried to do, you know, when Derek and Neal gave me the script, was to combine rodeo with a character that enabled you to have, in effect, a family drama. So in many ways, it's a father-daughter story. And to use the action to motivate the character and to make the audience care about it more. And then, you know, hopefully experience things that are very universal. I mean, most fathers, if asked, would say they don't know how good they are with their daughters. They feel a little awkward. And if you ask most daughters about their dads, they may say that they love them, but there's always a quiet but in there. And the but is, I wish he would have done this, or listen when I said this, or whatever it is. You know, now again, sometimes it's the child's eye view versus from the parent's eye view. But combining those in a film, which I think surprises a lot of people when they see it. So it's very faithful to the rodeo world and the competition. But the surprising part is how powerful the relationships are to me.
Yes, yes. I think for a lot of people. Neal, talk about working with him.
Well, Neal's like my baby brother. I walk on the set, I push him because he's just like a hunk of meat. And he's such a pro. He's such a pleasure to work with. And he's really kind of underrated as an actor. Obviously, he's played a lot of villains. But in this movie, he got a chance to be a leading man. And I think he's got the gravitas to pull that off. And that opening shot when you reveal his face with the cowboy hat, he looks like somebody who's been on a horse and been on a bull. And you don't have to say a word. So that was very important. And there's an energy when you discover an actor doing something they haven't done. The audience likes that. They like to claim the moment. I mean, it's funny, we're going up against Tom Cruise on May 23rd. But when I did Risky Business, Tom was an unknown. And we couldn't market the film on Tom. But his discovery as Tom Cruise
came from Risky Business, too.
Came from Risky Business,
I mean, how many times had that scene been done over and over?
A lot.
Yeah, a lot.
And every time it's done, I'm happy.
You must be. Yeah. And also when Neal turned the corner and walks down between the stalls, that's in that slow motion. That was an impressive scene. And for once, he gets to be a good guy, doesn't he?
We want him to be a good guy. And when Sean Gleason was giving me notes on the script, he said, well, he wouldn't walk down the buck and shoot there in the alleyway. He'd be on the chutes ready to go. And I listened, and I almost did everything Sean said. But I said, this is a great shot.
Now, it seems like his first few movies that you guys are talking about were not Westerns, and yet here now he's doing a cowboy movie. Is that something new for him?
Oh, yeah. No, he's done every kind of genre, but he said this is the one he wanted to tackle and do it with Neal, because he's done, well, he did Band of Brothers. I mean, he's done a lot of things with Neal.
Yeah,
so this is amazing. In fact, the red carpet was so crazy, Isaac, and there were so many people coming in and out, and they had a lot of events going on at this red carpet. It wasn't typical red carpet. They had another red carpet going on for people who paid for it. And so people were coming and going, but I've got some great interviews with Mykelti, who, of course, is his co-star in it. And, okay, you guys, you're going to remember Michael from Forrest Gump. Remember Bubba Gump? Yeah, well, you will remember Mike. Yeah, Bubba Gump, well, you know, who can forget his role? And then Free Willy. I mean, I was interviewing him back in the Free Willy days. So he's done a lot of movies. And I interviewed him. I interviewed Kip Conweiser, the producer, who has a amazing, over 100-something movies. And then also we did The Kids. You're going to love it. You're going to see Neal McDonough's children come up and proudly talk about their dad. And then he comes behind them and surprises them. Well, you'll have to see that. And then, of course, Neal and all the guys get together and kind of give their final comments. And he announced something that he did the first time ever on screen that he hasn't done anywhere else. So let's take a look and watch what happened on the red carpet.
All right, here we go.
You find that a lot of people want to see these inspiring stories, don't they?
Well, I think it does a disservice to a movie when you call it a faith film.
It does.
Because the only difference in a good movie like this is it's about people who live a life of faith. It's a really good movie about people who live their life by faith. That's what it is. And it'll land on you in a very good way. So,
And they make their choices by that, and that's what shows up, right?
right, that's right.
What was your favorite scene in the movie?
I don't really have one. I love the times when we're riding horses. I love being in the little cockpit of the airplane with John and us just crammed up in there. I enjoyed every moment of it. And all of it is a blessing to me.
I'm the producer of the movie.
Yes.
The part I played was from the very beginning. Neal and Ruvé were sitting at a breakfast table and said, what about? And I'm their partner, so they called me and said, hey, great idea. Let's develop this. John Avnet's the only director we should ever be working with, and we are blessed to have John leading the charge. But the McDonoughs are the North Star for this movie.
Yes.
Whenever we were wondering which direction to turn, it was always the faith, really, of the McDonoughs. As well, the angel audience. This movie did not start as an angel movie. When we started developing it from the beginning, I honestly said, we're going to reverse engineer this for the angel audience from what would they want to see in this film. And we're going to make our choices based on our observances of what this audience would want to pull so that we're not pushing it onto them. It's been a pleasure for me beyond words of more than 150 movies in 40 years that I've been a part of. I have never had an experience, as my wife knows, has been with me for 30 years of all of this, where I was involved with a studio that had a why and an audience that had a purpose. This is a movie that is for everyone intentionally. It's a movie about family, and families are not always easy. We have certain expectations, we make certain choices and sacrifices, and we have to reconcile with those things. So Texas brought to us a look and an air and a feel, a sense of unbridled freedom that this state represents so beautifully. And that is really at the core of this, at the core of the cowboy ethos. But with unbridled freedom still comes responsibilities. And those responsibilities start at home. So we feel blessed to have wrapped the family of Texas, the feel of Texas around our film, and we hope the audience recognizes it.
And don't you think it's fun to have Neal as a good guy for a change?
Oh my goodness. Neal is a good guy, for one thing.
Yes.
I've been saying this for years. I will absolutely die on this sword. Neal is pound for pound the best actor of our generation. And he has emphasized it repeatedly in villainous roles because he's got that look where he can just freeze you in your tracks.
Yes.
But the man is a father extraordinaire, a husband of selfless capacities, and is a full leading man. There isn't anybody more capable, better looking, who can show up and knock it out over and over and repeatedly than Neal McDonough. He was the North Star of this film, and he will continue to be the North Star, I believe, of many, many, many films as a leading man going forward.
Okay, how exciting is it to see your dad in a movie like this? Because it's so different.
Amazing. It's nice to see him finally play a good guy, because he's more known as the bad guy. So seeing him play a good guy in the film is definitely going to be something new. I haven't seen the film yet, so I'm excited to see it, but they all have.
Yeah, we got to see it, and I love, as he said, he gets to be the good guy and spread the faith and show how amazing God really is. And yeah.
Just seeing all the hard work my parents have put into this film, I'm so excited to see it. It's just going to be amazing. So.
You guys haven't seen it yet?
We have.
You have.
So I haven't been able to see it.
You've been in college? What college?
I play golf at the University of San Francisco.
Golf? My son would love it.
It's so exciting to see our parents work on a great film like this, and most of the kids here are in it. Most of us. Yeah.
You guys get to be in it?
All of us, yeah.
Okay, wait. Don't go. Photobombing this. Oh, you're photobombing. Photobombing. Oh, like, all right. Photobomb. All right. Did you get a chance to say something?
No.
Well, you want your chance.
Yeah.
Get your chance.
I was just gonna say it's kind of cool seeing my dad like risking his life again. Like he could get really hurt, but he's going back, doing bull riding, risking his life to earn money for his grandson to feel better.
So you like the story,
yeah,
didn't you? You that story, didn't you?
Mykelti, John, and myself, we've known each other for 25 years. And we've spent many hours together on sets, and we built this brotherhood, this friendship that really doesn't exist very often in Hollywood. And then to put the three of us knuckleheads together and do a movie of this faith, of this much fun and action and story, it's just, and for me, it's my favorite thing I've ever done by a landslide. And I got to be directed by my mentor, my great big brother, and one of the greatest directors of all time, John Avnet.
Wow.
That's a good way to shut me up. Wow. I do want to say, and I've said it before, but I want to say it loud and clear. This movie is from Neal's heart and his soul, and that's what's at the center of it. And as he said, Mykelti, Neal, and I started working on Boomtown almost 25 years ago, and he had just done a small film called Band of Brothers, and that's what we began.
That's right. Oh, that was pretty good.
And you're still a band of brothers, aren't you?
Still a band of brothers.
Still a band of brothers.
But out bump.
But I also like what you said about your wife, and because you're known for not kissing any women.
That's right.
I'm playing the bad guy, which
He
we all
wouldn't
know.
stop when the camera was
So
rolling.
talk about that.
That was the longest day of filming. It was an eighth of a page and it lasted 4 hours. My daughter in London was there that day, and I was on so many. I'm famous for 1 or 2 takes, but it just kept on going. And my daughter in London was like, "Dad, you're grossing me out. It's take 13. Sit back. I'm gonna have 14 or 15." We had a great time.
The first time?
First time I ever kissed a woman on screen in a movie.
It is.
First time. And I got to do it with my wife, finally. And the amazing glue to this whole production, Kip Conweiser. Producer extraordinaire, amazing human being, and now part of this group that we've known each other forever. Now Kip's part of the band, so it's pretty awesome.
Thank you. The Band of Brothers is growing. That's right. Now, one thing I do want to say is I appreciate the fact that this story was done about being older. And God's not giving up on you. You can't give up on your dream. I love that. I think it's encouraging. It's been for me in my life. I love that you did this story with that theme.
Yeah, I think there's a lot left in all of us. My dad did 3 miles every day into his 90s. He was always just this health freak. And he's like, why can't I? And I've had that mentality. And John is the exact same way. And Mykelti is as fit as can be. And Kip is probably the fittest guy I know. So for a bunch of old guys, we're doing pretty darn good.
How will this maybe surprise Hollywood and people that have seen you play the bad guy and so many other things? What is different about this?
He shouldn't talk about it. I will.
Yeah.
Neal, as everyone knows, is a great actor. He's had an amazing career as a villain. But this is the first time he gets to play the leading man. And I've always believed that he could do it, and he could do it incredibly well. Because like true Hollywood stars of the past, I'm talking about Clint Eastwood, John Wayne, Jimmy Stewart, Gary Cooper, Neal can say so much without saying a word. And if you look at him in scenes when he's not talking, which is often because he's asked not to say any words.
He's asked to be mean.
No, he's just very careful and protective of every other actor.
Yeah.
So when you see Mykelti in the diner laying out his heart and speaking as he is and doing as good a performance as I've ever seen, look at Neal's face when he's doing that. And you know what a great actor, and in my opinion, a true leading man.
That was so cute about the whole kissing thing.
Wasn't it? And I love the fact that his family came. The kids were there, representing their dad. They were standing back on the red carpet, Isaac, and they were just standing against the wall, and they were using them as photo op. And then people were taking pictures of them.
Right.
I said, are you willing to talk on camera? And they're like, sure. They all came over there. It was so great. They all came over, and I'm like, hi. I was so happy to have the kids. And then asking, of course, each one. And that little boy to his son at the end. He was so precious.
Awesome. Yeah.
So great, because my dad is about a movie, and he was telling the theme of it. It just touched my heart. And then he reached around, and you just love that kid. Yeah. I just love that he showed what a great father he is, and that it's about family. And not only is the movie about family, but he is that in real life. And I love to see that,
Yep.
And and the kissing thing, is that great? That it's his first time on screen.
Amazing,
first time.
yes. Because he's been on a lot of screens. He's been on a lot of
He's
movies.
been a lot of
never kissed
Hey, I
once,
remember
apparently.
watching Band of Brothers years ago. I remember watching that. I mean, he's been in stuff that he wasn't that big of an actor at the time, and you kind of go back and go, wow, his career is extensive. So, yeah, all that time he's been the bad guy, so he didn't have to kiss anyone. And then for the first time, his wife. How special is that? I mean,
I know,
that's
but
just so
it was
special.
funny. It was funny how he said that they had to do the scene over and over. So he was kissing her a lot, and one of his kids says, "Ooh, gross." That's so
his daughter
common.
was like, "That's a gross, Dad," because he said, "I'm a 1 or 2 take actor," which is really cool. And he goes, "That's what I usually do." So his daughter was like, "This is too much." He was, you know what? He was showboating in front of the crew. He was showboating.
Of course, absolutely.
No,
But,
because for years he hasn't kissed anybody.
Right.
So this was his first big screen kiss. I'd make a big deal of it too.
It was a big thing, but the kid thinking it was gross is so common because my kids were the same. If I was kissing my wife Gladys too much, sometimes they'd go, "Ugh, Dad, gross." I don't understand
Well,
what is so gross about kissing your wife. But oh well, now they kiss their spouse, and I certainly don't go, ooh, gross. But anyway, that's beside the
I
point.
think it was too being in front of a crew. You know, when you're standing there with a lot of crew members and people, and your dad's kissing, you know, your mom is kind of like, ew. But I mean, there was a whole other factor there. But yeah, no, it was great. And then of course, Michael, I love him, and he's a Christian. He's a great soul, and I love how it showed the camaraderie between the men. Right. And they all support each other, and they literally are a band of brothers. I mean, I love how it's this camaraderie, and you can tell they're all having so much fun making this movie. They were saying it was their, to get together to collaborate on this, and it was a special movie. They felt even made more so by Angel Studios. I mean, that's what the director was saying. That's what the producer was saying. Kip said, never. He goes, I've worked in films for years. He goes, never before have I experienced a studio like this. That'll make the movie like this. I mean, so. That's something good to say for Hollywood, because remember, folks, they're not Christian filmmakers. These are secular filmmakers who made a faith movie, a good movie with faith in it, but it's not a faith-based movie. Right. But these are secular Hollywood filmmakers.
Is it faith adjacent? Is that what would be a faith adjacent?
Well, it's kind of that. Yeah, I mean, it's got it in it, but like Michael, he said, just make a good movie. Ultimately, people have faith in their real lives.
Ultimately, it's a movie that you as a Christian, me as a Christian, can take our families to watch.
Right.
Would that be it?
And that's absolutely it. And it really is what Michael said. Just make a good movie and how people live their real lives with faith. And I like the fact that, I want to repeat this because I really want you all to listen. These are Hollywood producers and directors, okay? Yep. This isn't from the Christian clan that we usually interview and talk to. So for them to say, this was an unusual experience, this was a great experience, this was so different, they will go back and tell others in Hollywood what it's like to work on a movie like this and with crews and people like this. And that does something for the kingdom, I think.
Absolutely. And of course, you mentioned that it was put out by Angel Studios, who, again, they seem to be putting out a great movie every month, maybe even more. I don't know. But you had a chance to interview also at the red carpet one of the executives from Angel Studios.
I did. David Fisher. And he does acquisitions, which means he's the one picking what movies are going to be going out there because he's doing acquisitions. And he was explaining to me what Angel, I said, well, what new have they got going on? So there's something new he's going to announce that, to my knowledge, hasn't been announced yet. And it will surprise a lot of people. And some people are going to be kind of excited about it, something else to watch. And then also I asked about, well, there's so many people who are filmmakers, especially new filmmakers, wanting to get their movies or their torch piece or their sizzle seen by Angel. And he explained the process. Yes, sometimes you get rejected, but there's hope. So I want to listen to the interview and he'll explain about that.
We have some awesome shows coming. We have picked up a series that is putting itself together in Ireland right now called The Wayfinders. This was going to get released on another major network, and the network wanted the producers of Wayfinder to cast a little bit older their teenage characters. They wanted to sexualize the characters, and we thought, what is going on? Now, that wasn't us, that was them. The producers said, we're not going to do that, we're going to go to Angel. And they brought their project to Angel. We took the project over and now are doing the distribution for Wayfinders. Really, really exciting, very awesome to be with them.
Okay, how many films do you have coming out in 2025 that we can look forward to?
There's 7 official films coming, there might be more, but seven films are going to be released theatrically. And then we are up to 1 to 2 shows that we're licensing per week that's actually coming out onto the Angel Guild. Right now, it's just gangbusters. We've been bringing out a lot of new material.
It is gangbusters, and I know 2 people who have their films in for review. I know it's hard for you to say, but hard for you to say, but speaking to people who think, oh, I have a chance, I'll get it through Angel. It's a long process. Not everybody can get through, is it?
That's right. No, there's thousands of submissions of projects that come into the Angel Guild. Once a project hits the Angel Guild, we have a system that randomly selects members of the guild to watch the show, right? And they can either watch a short piece of the show or the full show itself, and it's going to both have to happen at some point. That process takes a good amount of time. It takes anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks usually, but then if you don't pass, we tell them, listen, just commit to being on Angel. Just edit for the Guild. You can edit as many times as you want. And every time we edit and resubmit it, it goes to a whole fresh crop of people. No one watches it twice. Nobody votes on it twice.
Good to know.
So you get a chance to get real development, from your project. And that's what, as a filmmaker, I know that I was always paying tens of thousands of dollars to have tests done on my films.
Yes.
This allows people to actually go back and back for free after they paid their initial fee.
Last comment. What are you excited about The Last Rodeo?
The Last Rodeo is an Americana piece, right? So this is an opportunity for us to hit the heartland with a hero's journey, a hero's story. You got cowboy boots, you've got bulls, you've got Neal McDonough doing push-ups and hitting hay bales. I mean, come on. You give me a box of popcorn and some Sour Patch Kids and I'm good. I am good to go.
Holly, you really had a good time this week doing these interviews.
I did. I had a great time, Isaac, and it was fun to find out all the information. Listen, this summer, folks, is a big summer. I'm going to go to a screening of How to Train Your Dragon, which is a live, not the animated, the live version with one of my favorites, Gerard Butler. I can't wait to go see him. And this is, people love the animated, so they're going to love this live action. Yes. Also, then we've got coming up Superman. The new Superman is summer. Listen, Mission Impossible. That's what everyone's talking about right now. That's literally the final reckoning, what everyone's discussing that's going on right now. And then we also have, so many. Lilo and Stitch is in. We've got also a new Despicable Me. And then one more that I'm going to read on the list. And, the Fantastic Four. They're coming back. The Fantastic Four hadn't been around for years. So we're going to see this summer, especially June and July, a lot of films, a lot to talk about for families.
Yes, absolutely. That's wonderful. You mentioned Despicable Me. That's the one that has that character that is kind of large with little thin legs, right? I forget.
That is the character, Despicable Me.
Yeah. Well, my kids, there was a time when I started to wear the small jeans, the real tight jeans. And my kids they laughed at me. They said, "Dad, you look just like that character on Despicable Me." So I stopped wearing those pants. Can you imagine?
I know. I can't talk. That's so funny. I actually would love to see a picture of you in those pants. That would be hilarious. Oh, gosh. Now I see that movie every time I'm going to think of you, Isaac. That's so funny.
I know.
Well, lots to look forward to for families, and we hope that you'll go out and support The Last Rodeo. If you're watching this after it's already come out, I'm sure it'll have streaming. Go support it. It's a great movie with Neal McDonough, one of our favorites.
Well, we certainly look forward to learning more about all those. I reckon, but now I'll be moseying on down to my corral. Oh, wait, I don't have a corral.
Me too, partner. Wish I had a horse to go right away on.
I know, but listen, you all can mosey on down to our website, faithonfilmtv.com. Let me say it again slow, because there's some radio stations that carry our show and they don't see the bottom of the screen. faithonfilmtv.com. Head on out there and just give it a look-see. All right, and that's it for today, Holly. Until next week.
Blessings.
Bye-bye.
Blessings. Remember to choose your movies wisely.
Yeehaw!
Write to us at faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. That's faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Faith on Film TV. Also, go to our YouTube channel, Faith on Film TV, and hit the subscribe button and the bell for notifications on our latest Faith on Film shows.